Hello and welcome to the Filler Match Show, your weekly, well, bi-weekly live show of chat and interesting things and stuff, all modelling related. Well, most of it.
Some of it.
So, yes, some of it. So, and tonight's brought to you by Sorbet Matt.
Sorbet.
It's raspberry sorbet tonight.
It is exactly what this is.
Are they the limited edition ones then? Because they're not going to be actually available.
No, this is the special for me.
Unless anybody wants a special one.
We can do special colours.
Yes.
But no, they're not this bright. This was just a sample, so I thought put it on. It's summer, isn't it? The sun's out. Want some?
It is.
You know,
yes.
want to be.
Look, I've got my legs out and everything.
It's so vibe. I'm not showing them, but yeah, I've done been dowdy colours in summer, so put my super sorbet on.
Yes, definitely. It's how it should be. Never mind. As I say, sun is shining. It's been really hot in here, I must admit. The last couple of days doing this especially, it's been proper hot. So, yes, nice to have a bit cool weather. Get it down to about 20, 21, I'm happy. The bit where it's like 27, 28 yesterday is a bit warm. So,
yeah, it was a bit stifling. Nice, though. Nice.
Very nice. Anyway, trust you're all doing very well at home. Don't forget, we haven't got any live chats up or anything else like that. It's just the ramblings of two idiots. Just waffling on for an hour, really, talking about what's new and out there, what's going on, what we've been up to, what we haven't been up to in this case for this particular show, and everything. So, yes. So, if I kick off, obviously members know this one because I've been working on this. So, this is the Pate Miniatures Kit. That's as much as I want to say, really. Needless to say, though, we have been hammering through this one a lot this week, just trying to get it together, getting it all tidied up and stuff like that. So seam checking, really, today. So we've had to use plasticard as shims, and we've got various fillers going down in here. So just to give you the quick run through, it's basically tacked together with super glue. Then I came along with good old-fashioned contact here, because actually this plastic works really well with this stuff. And go right the way through. Then we had horrendous problems with seam lines. So we've got plasticard right the way through. So this is a thin styrene sheet, which is this particular one, which we actually put through and just beaded it. Then we glued it in place so it would sink in and do its bit, all right? And then once that's been on, it's been sanded, and then we came afterwards with a little bit of sprue glue. So this is the old thick homemade stuff. It's made out of plasticard, thinned with a little bit of extra thin, liberally spread over the lot. Then we sanded it all down when we were pretty much there. But there's faults in the plastic everywhere. So then afterwards, just for good measure, we gave it a really thin coat of the old fine grey putty. This is the AK stuff. And it is really, really fine. It's great for doing finishing jobs. I wouldn't use it for heavy duty jobs, but for finishing, it's great. So it's taking care of all the little, imperfections all over this thing as well. So you say the nose section's looking really, really good now. Underneath is done. So we're all seamless on the bottoms as well and stuff like that. And again, it's together, which has been the main thing. So with that section done, coming along, so tomorrow what I want to do is obviously get this checked as well, make sure it's all nice. But we've also been on with the actual wheel wells. So we've been getting these together, and they're not a nice fit at all. So I needed plenty of cleanup, plenty of work to get these in. And then obviously these will come along and drop in to these. And to be honest, they're not bad. They're not brilliant, but they fit in. And I've done this one is glued in now. And that one is in place. And actually, it's a good solid gear piece and all the rest of it. Problem we've got, though, is that then you come along and you drop this in here, but it doesn't fit in the hole. This is one of those square peg round hole things. It just doesn't fit anywhere near it. So when you make this bigger, it still doesn't fit, because what you need to do is sand it to an inch of its life along this piece, which technically you could get rid of because structurally it's not a problem. But I just thought, any strength this kit can have will help. But we've had to open it right up. So if you see it before and after, you've had to make it a hell of a lot bigger to open this up. This then allows this section to fit in here now. And to be honest, it's not a bad fit. And I haven't done any sort of dry fitting on this at all yet. So actually, I don't think it's a bad fit at all. And obviously we've got this one over here, and we've been doing seam lines and polishing and all the rest of it on this as well. And this one, again, this one's not quite as good, but I've done no fitting at all. I think if I just take a little bit of height out the back, it will sit quite nicely on this one. And we should end up with something pretty darn good. So that's those done. And the wing sections are obviously together and all the rest of it. So that's good. We've also done the tails. So the tails are done. So I need to sand this one in. We had a short shot on here and all the rest of it. So again, we use sprue goo just to backfill all of that. Tail planes are all done and all the rest of it. And again, we've worked on the gear, and we've got the gear all sorted and put together as well and cleaned up. So that's actually all looking pretty nice. And to be honest, the wheels aren't too bad. After cleaning them up, bit of filler. Again, the old sprue goo in there and everything else. The gear looks okay for smooth tyres, just like that. But again, it's been one of those ones this week where just head down. Sanders, literally, I've been using them so heavily, I've been washing them out. So I stick them in a bowl of warm water and just giving them a rinse out and let them dry in the sun, and then get going at it again. So yeah, the process is one of those things that, you know, we'd all like to take shortcuts and that, but when we put the actual sprue goo on, we left it for 48 hours to let it go totally off before we came in with sanding it. And it's really important. If you are using the old styrene filler technique or sprue goo, you've got to let it go completely off, because if you try and sand it, it will be soft inside. And especially when you're like sanding away with the medium sanders and things, you can generate quite a lot of heat that softens the plastic, and all you're going to end up with, it look fantastic, come back the next day, it will dry, contract and shrink, and you get ghost seam lines in there and things like that. That's something that we don't want at all. So again, we've been in some cases with a little bit of super glue as a filler, with a little bit of talc, things like that, just to take care of it. But we are pretty much there. So although it's been a week of not the best or nicest job in the world, it hasn't been a chore. It's just been one of those things of just working through all the stages, going through it. So next up for this will be a complete sand and polish absolutely everywhere. Then we're going to rescribe, we're going to re-rivet, or give it rivets, I should say, because there's none on it. So we'll rivet the entire thing. Same goes with the wings and all the bits and pieces. And then obviously we'll get those nacelles and everything onto the wings. And then obviously we can start work on the engines afterwards and things like that as well. So again, it's one of those ones where it's horrible, it's messy, and as I said, I'll show you Matt earlier, this is, you need your apron, and this was clean before I started, you know, and it's absolutely hanging. So it's one of those ones where it's a horrible, horrible job, but you've just got to go through it. Because if you take a shortcut there, I know full well it's going to come back and it's going to bite me really, really heavily. So been doing that one all the way through. The other thing as well is we had the review of the Chinook up. That went up for members obviously on Tuesday. It'll go out to the world tomorrow. All right, so everyone else can keep up with that one as well. So we did that review. And also I've done it, but I haven't done the actual figure yet, the editing of it as well for this little lump for the NJ22, which is basically the exact same as the last one, but this is a two-seat version on there just like that. So yes, that's been my week anyway. So members, you've got the next part of this one will be up with you tomorrow, and there will be another part on Monday as well. So that'll get you basically to where we are right now on with that. So plenty to see and do this particular week. So cool. Yes, that was my week.
You're carrying the can here, aren't you? Because
I am a little bit.
I've managed to do in 2 weeks nothing. I've only been in here, if I'm perfectly honest, which isn't like me at all, but I am having a proper Mojo lapse at the minute, which is, I was talking to you this morning, weren't I? And it's got to be the first time since we've been doing this I've actually just fell off a cliff with motivation and Mojo. There is a lot of other things going off, which I think in probably the next show we will do, we will tell you what is going off. Yes. So there's a lot of other things going off in the background that's been a bit of a distraction as well. So hence why I've not really been here either. But yeah, it's just one of them. I'm not stressing about it. I mean, we have all people, oh, my Mojo's gone and just ride it out. It'll come back. And I know mine will. It's just at the minute, you know, it's at a bit of a dip, and I'm not fighting it. I'm not going to force it. I'm just going to let it run its course, and then I'll be back up and running and back on it, you know, as and when, hopefully sooner rather than later. But
yeah, I think yeah, we're going to discuss obviously Mojo and losing your mojo, but I think the big thing is that this time of year, especially because the nice weather comes along, you've got lighter evenings and that, and sometimes you might be doing, traditionally you do that thing, you come home from work, you have your dinner, you stroke the kids, and then obviously you just bugger off and try and hide for a couple of hours before it's time to bed. But because the weather's quite nice, a lot of people are doing a lot more outdoorsy things, and it's one of those things. Do you want to be cooped up? Like now, it's a gorgeous evening out there. I've got the blinds closed because it's blaring sun, and it'd be quite nice to be out and about and all the rest of it. And to be honest, after watching the football again, which I've sworn I'm never going to watch again, because that's another 90 minutes of my life I'm never going to get back. It's one of those things. I think it's quite easy to think, yeah, I just can't be bothered. Yeah, just being honest, it's one of those things. It is, it's for most of us anyway. It's a hobby that you enjoy doing and stuff. So the last thing you really want to do is go in there and sort of get into it. But I often say that this time of year, you've heard me talk about, I call it the cliff. We get to May, and especially from sales point of view, membership point of view, and all things like that, it travels along. Right, I'm eating styrene. Nice. It travels along and literally just boom. It's a definite cliff, and everything just falls by over a half. So there's half the views, there's half the subscribers, there's half the sales. Literally, it's boom. And then what you tend to find is, as the weather continues to be quite nice, you get bored with it now. Yeah, I've been out with a family, I've walked the dog and all the things like that, and those nice evenings. I'm a bit bored now, and I get back to the modelling. But I think this time of year, especially, you get to, end of June, July, the weather tends to get a little bit better. It's beautiful light evenings and stuff like that, and it's warmer. But I think where people lose their mojo is probably, if I had to say, when would it happen? Now. Right now is when it's going to be happening for a lot of people. So I don't think it's just you. That's what I'm getting at here. I think this is a trend that I've been seeing for years.
It's but I think for us as well, our sort of nice weather's come really late, because it's only come within the last lot of week, hasn't it? To be honest, it's been quite dreary and a bit miserable, cold. To be honest, and a bit wet. And now the sun's actually decided to show its face. I say you got to make the most of it, because when the weather's going to change in the UK, go back to dreary, horrible, wet weather, and then you're not, it's there's stuff to do around the house, the garden, and everything else. So while the weather's been quite nice and longer evenings, make the most of it. So normally, like I say, I have a couple of days a week in here anyway, in between work. But with all the things that's been happening, I've not even got in here in the day at all. So it's it just it takes its toll a little bit really on the actual production, shall we say. But I say we'll get back to it. I'm not stressing. And
that's the point I was going to make as well, is that don't force it.
No.
At the end of the day, I think one of the good little mojo builders can be is have a little bit of a tidy up of your workspace. Two reasons for that. One, I think it always feels a little bit better when you've got a clear desk and the crap's all gone, and all the rest of it. I think that's quite a nice mojo. But also the great thing for it is you might find stuff you suddenly think, oh yeah, I've got that kit. Or I've got a half-built kit that I started 10 years ago. I might actually finish it. And you can be inspired by yourself. Instead of watching, us or anybody else you're watching online or reading books of, you can actually inspire yourself. And you'll remember why you bought that kit 20 years ago and why you did that. There was probably a reason that inspired you to go out and get that kit at the time. And, it might be a piece of armor and you think, you know what, I've really always wanted to do it. I've never done it. Now could be the time, and just start with a fresh project, even if you've got something on the go, because whatever it is, it's not drawing you in as fast as perhaps, you want it to, as much as you want it to. And that's why you're a little bit, because the amount of people we know, including Mr. John Buller, our very own Mr. Buller, he goes through this. And like he says, he'll sit there and watch a load of YouTube videos and stuff, isn't it? And that inspires you because you're seeing it. And it's just getting enough inspiration to get back on and tackle something. Start going, and get on with
people go, "Oh, you've started this kit," and it's like that's. It's actually not. This is not the cause of it whatsoever. The old Hampton. To be honest, like I say, it's more time. It's more been of a time issue rather than actually a bit of a mojo sort of dip. There is a little bit of one there, but you know what I mean? It's more of a time issue, and I know I need to actually, like, you've been spending like days, haven't you? Let's be honest. And this is one of them you cannot just, I don't think you can just pick up for an hour and do a bit.
No, you need to
actually dedicate some time, which is why at the minute it's on a little bit of a back burner until what we is happening, is sorted, and I can get back to a normal routine. So, but yeah, this is definitely not, because this is something I really want to do. But I'm taking your sort of cue, because I know we've got starting on in July, isn't there? The vintage kit build is starting, and well, yeah, I've got loads of crap.
Plenty
People
of them.
say plenty of crap. So I think what I'm going to do is pull a 7-second kit out and just build it, not go mad with it, just get something built that will, you know, correspond with that that thing that's going off, and then, like I say, we'll just go from there, really have a few hours on it and build it back up. But yeah, it's all exciting stuff in the background, which, you know, I keep saying for the past few weeks, is it's all building up to the crescendo of the next month or so, isn't it? And then you know, we'll be there. So it's good. But yeah, loads of other stuff coming and going as well in the background as well. Like I say, the real colours are in.
Yeah.
They're just about put up, so they'll be launched at the weekend. So if you've been waiting for the new real colour range, we have got it. It is nearly on the site. We've just got some final touches, and we will launch that. And also,
shall I tease? I got the photo because you sent me the photo.
Yes, I'll show them the rack.
Okay, do you want to see my rack?
Yes.
There it is. Okay, I will say it. I'm slightly disappointed because although it's a lovely rack, let's face it, who doesn't like a nice rack? But because
show the other rack. The old rack with what we've done.
The old rack.
That's the old rack, okay?
That's the old rack. So look how nicely it is with all the nice coloured caps.
Yeah. Now that's become the Tamiya paint rack, because we've reutilised, because obviously the Tamiya paint racks was two separate ones, which were desk ones, not a floor to, you know, and for space purposes, we're thinking, well, you can get the XFs and the LPs all on one rack there. So we've just reutilised it, you know, to put the Tamiya rack on.
We've upcycled
it, yeah. And actually, I've got stickers as well to go over, obviously, the old real colour, you know.
Yeah.
Not that I really need it for picking and stuff, but thinking, well, while we've got them, we might as well reutilise it. So it's just a space saver, really. Get rid of two racks that are just, you know, take up tabletop space, shall we say.
But my point is, when you're, obviously, I know this is that thing, everyone says, oh, but it's all online and all the rest of it. But when you are in a store, it's quite nice because at a glance, you can see the colours and all your bits and pieces through the cap. And I know the caps aren't accurate and all the rest of it, but you know what I mean, all right? And they always look quite nice and colourful. And it's the trouble is you can see down in here, this is the normal Panzer colours and the normal ones as well, the acrylic range, 3rd gen. And because they're all white, they all look the same. So the trouble you've got now with the new one, sorry, wrong way, there's the empty rack. There it is. They're all black. So they look not as nice. It's not as appealing. I used to always like going into model shops and seeing the paint racks. And I like going in ours because we got rows of it. And it's like, they always look quite good in all the colours. But now they've gone to black, you know. But in the upside, you can get a lot more in your space, you know, because obviously they're a lot smaller, as in width-wise. So you get more in a row and all the rest of it down in here.
Yeah.
But anyway, there you go. You can see it. They are all there now. So they are going to be going on sale at the weekend.
Yeah, we're just saying as well, with the colours, because obviously they've dropped a load and they've bought some in. I'm more impressed when I was actually setting this up is with the civil colours for the cars. And the actual range of them is really, really good. And all the colours you probably need for the common stuff, obviously the Italian reds, and you've got Tyrrell blue, Gulf blue, Renault yellow, you know, things like that. It's a really good range, and like some motorbike colours as well. They've got Ducati red, I think, and a Ninja green. So I think they thought about that. We were saying it's surprising never did it the first time round in the little jars. You know, but obviously they must have done some research into it. But yeah, so we've got that, and like I say, Mr. Hobby, we're actually going to get some levelling thinners back in.
Thank God, at last. Yeah.
Levelling thinners, aqueous thinner, normal thinner. We've got rapid thinner in there. We've already had that. And a few of the others as well that we've been out of, as in the GX100 and 113, 14 and whatever it is, you know, the clears. Some of the others is still out of stock of. You know, unfortunately, Dark Iron is still out of stock. So can't do much about. And also Black Surface Primer. Hopefully over time, I think they're getting stuff sorted, so they'll be back in as well, and we can go and restock. So, but I mean, I think the thinners was the main one, weren't it? Levelling thinners has just been, I don't know, months since we've had any. So that'll be back in next week as well. So we'll put that up and, you know, put some up somewhere. Mm-hmm. We'll tell you and you can shout out that it's in, but keep an eye out. So, yeah, definitely. No, say a lot of other stuff going on, isn't there?
Yeah, loads of stuff going on in the background. As I say, we'll probably fill you in next week or week after. 2 weeks' time, we'll fill them in and let them know about
2 weeks' time,
the next show. A couple of times in there. Right, there's a couple of things all going on in the world. One of them is obviously this one. So, again, as we spoke about before, and I'm not going to go down the political reasons of it being Russian and all the rest of it, but this kit was completely overlooked, I think, because obviously when it got released, they decided to invade, Russia decided to invade, obviously, Ukraine twice. So obviously at the time, and I was guilty of it as well, obviously we had the kits come in, we had them in there and all the rest of it. I didn't review one because I just didn't think it was in good taste at that particular time. But this is a new sort of, I would say collaboration, but I think that it's just because obviously they've got their name on it rather than just a little bit somewhere else. But this is Quinter's release of the said SU-25 for the Frogfoot. So obviously being Quinter, as we all know, they do amazing, as you can see down in here, all the 3D printed panels and various detail sets and all the rest of it, which does look very, very nice. So as you can see, so it is going to come the kit with all of these bits as well. And then on top of that as well, you get some of their new resin, which looks very nice and fine and detailed. So you've got your resin bits as well.
Have we spoke about this? I don't think we spoke about actually Quinter are going now into 3D printed resin on top of the cockpit sets, have we?
As well, yeah, no, that's it. No, not on a full thing. I think we just mentioned they're going that way, but yeah, we've never mentioned it on a full-on thing. But yeah, it does seem to be what they're doing now, is moving into the 3D printed realm, like a lot of things.
Makes sense to me.
Yeah, definitely. Yes. So, but yeah, so you've got that one down in there. Unfortunately, there isn't a Ukrainian option on the markings, so read into that for what you will. But it is still just all the Russian stuff. But again, it's one of those ones where, you know, say I don't want to go down political and I don't want to get flaming and all the rest of it. But it's one of those ones where actually this was actually a really nice kit. And let's face it, I've built the old capo one and had to rescribe and re-rivet it and all the rest of it. And to be honest, it's still not a patch on this thing by a long shot, because that kit is very, very old. But as you say, this kit got completely overlooked. But now I think with the Quinter set in it, just that cockpit set looks absolutely brilliant. Very nice indeed. So
the thing is, you want the check decals for doing a frog foot, don't you?
Yeah, absolutely. Yes.
Because they're the ones who had all the fancy sort of paint
all the marking options with the frog on the tail and all the rest of it. Yeah. So again, I am slightly surprised that they haven't, because I think if they had put in some of the, you know, like the Czech ones, especially things like that. All right, perhaps not the Ukrainian one, because that might be a bit close to home for them. But I'm surprised there isn't the others ones in there anyway. But just for a bit of balance, maybe. So I think if that was me, just for balance and just trying to keep the world happy, I think I would have put somebody else's in there as well. But again, read into that as you will. I know lots of you will get in contact with me and let me know clearly.
Yeah.
But, you know, as you say...
I've got my opinions why they've not put them in, but I'll keep that to myself.
Well, that's it. I know. But seeing as this is, you know, technically it's a Quinter release of their first one. So this is number 4001. So, you know, definitely.
It's kind of, do you know what this reminds me of is Edward. It's like an Edward thing. We obviously take somebody else's kits and then put their own stuff in it, which, you know, let's be honest, Edward's done it forever. They were the originators of it because, you know, they had the aftermarket stuff to put in it to begin with. So it was kind of logical that we'll take either their own kit or somebody else's. It was mainly, you know, say Asagawa kits in the, or the old, because that one you built was the old KP boxing, was an Edward.
It was the KP box. Yeah, it's Edward's version, but yeah.
And that's where I think they started a collab, because the obviously Czech manufacturers, and it was, you know, an obvious thing to do. And then they moved to Asagawa and whoever else they've done it with. But again, I wonder if this is going to be a thing now with Quinter and Zvezda.
Yeah, maybe.
We'll see if this carries on. You can see like an MI-24 coming out and a...
Yeah, the MI-35s as well. Yeah, all the other ones. Yeah,
you know, some of the other stuff that they do could be. We'll see, won't we? But interesting, nonetheless, interesting collab. And like I say, it's such a shame that what happened has happened, because it's just, we were crying out for a new Frogfoot for years, decades, weren't we? You know, the KP one was the only one in town that was worth building, and it's not great, is it? Let's be honest, it's not a really good kit. So everybody excited, and then obviously it all kicked off, and it just, yeah. It just went to, nobody will go near it or wanted to review it or whatever, and it's such a shame because I think it's like I say, basically it's a really good kit as well, but
it's a cool aircraft and it's actually a really good kit, but unfortunately,
yeah, there you go.
Never mind. Anyway, just for balance, we've also got the Russian MiG-35. So this is the new kit by Hobbyboss in 1/48 scale. And to be honest, the old Hobbyboss MiGs are pretty good. So this one looks a little bit tasty.
I think they've just started down that route, haven't they? They've done the K. This is the next one, and then I presume they'll just do the normal A, Cs, and SMTs, and all the other stuff will come later on, because it will just follow what Trumpeter did in 32nd and 72nd.
Yeah.
But again, it's a nice rival, because obviously the old Academy ones are showing their age, and I don't think they went to this anyway. And and obviously then the other ones, really, the Great Wall ones, weren't they? I don't think they ever did an F-35, a MiG-35 either, did they?
No, I don't think so. No,
I think they stopped at an SMT, a MiG-25 SMT.
The big spine one.
Yeah.
But again, I think cool markings, cool schemes, and all the rest of it. So very, very nice indeed.
I'll say, it's knocking on now a MiG-25, but it's still actually, for a jet, for me, it's quite a cool looking jet.
Yeah, well, the thing is, like everything, this is obviously, it's like the F-16s. If you go back to the old block 15s and 5s, like would be the equivalent to the A, and now they've just gone on and on and on with it. So this is obviously the latest, and greatest version of it. But I quite like the Fulcrumers one anyway. I'm of that generation. I remember it when it came over for the first time at Farnborough, and I happened to be at Riyadh when they crashed. I was a guest of the Royal Air Force, courtesy of family, and and it came down quite close to the hooks. So and at that point, it was a bit, but so yes, I do have one of those things. I think in modelling ways and that, depending if you're more into your armour, your aircraft, you can tell people's age by what they're sort of into sometimes, So again, you can go through with tanks and armour, the Chieftain guys versus the Challenger guys in the UK, obviously different tanks of different eras and ships and cars and things. And again, the MiG-29, it's one of those things. As I say, I remember getting the poster as a kid in one of the magazines and it being on my wall and all things like that. So yes, very interesting.
Yeah, no, good release.
The other one as well is we've got a early production of the Little Stewart with zebras. Do you get the zebras with it? As Mini Art releasing them at some point?
Is there many zebras in Tunisia?
Well, apparently they've got a herd here.
Oh, it could be. I actually do. I don't know. I was asking. I thought zebras was more in the plains of Africa, but I could be wrong. Perhaps Tunisia is awash with them. I don't know.
I have no idea.
But they're obviously now going to produce how many Stewart tanks was ever done Mini Art, but that's what they do. So
they bring out all the versions, isn't it?
All the versions, so you're not be short of any of them. I'm waiting for the later ones when we're getting to Normandy and that sort of. I think that's all the M5s and stuff. I don't know if they can do. I could presume they could do one off it eventually. But with edge cutters on and all sorts of stuff like that they added. Be cool, that one. But these are all the early ones, so I presume that's about 43, I think. Unless it's busted a zoo open.
Yeah, perhaps he has. He's gone through somebody's fence and they've all got out.
It could be Pablo Escobar's.
That'd be hippos, wouldn't it, if it was them?
Oh, hippo. Perhaps he had some zebras as well, I don't know.
He might have done, you never know. Anyway, you have got some options down in there as well. So you've obviously got the free French one.
So where are we going then? What we got? Oh, Nigeria. Italy. Oh, there you go. Could be then. Italy.
Oh, there you go. Yeah.
Australia. What we got there? Philippines.
Perhaps that's what it is, because obviously that free French one in Nigeria, that's probably where you would get zebras.
No, that makes sense now we've seen that. That does make sense. I don't think you're going to see many zebras in the Philippines.
Not really, no. Don't think they're natives.
The American car and foundry plant one, look, the 1000th tank.
Yeah. Because when I first saw that, I thought it was Russian Lend-Lease job, because it looks like it's in winter camo, Russian markings. And then I saw it and I read it and I was like, right.
I think that's the one next to it, look.
This is it.
Too. But like I say, it's a lot of variants and a lot of people use them. So nice little tank. Don't take up much space either. But that nice. That Nigerian one, that makes sense now with Look, it's a good job we looked at that. It's answered the question of the zebras. But again, for a box art,
yes,
still a bit weird for a box art to put zebras on it. But there you go. Because I won't like me and perhaps some other people wouldn't sort of thinking, well, why is a zebra with that tank?
Yes. Now we know. We've answered that question for everybody.
Now we know.
It's actually in Nigeria, so it's all right. You're all good with that one.
And it kind of gives it away with the thing on the turret. I'm just looking at it properly. Well, sometimes I amaze myself with my
that's it. It's amazing. We are the oracle.
Yeah. Oh God, hello. It's been a long week.
It has been a long week, and I'm blaming the weather. Anyway, up as well, we've got these. So last week, you might remember, we had pipes.
We've had pipes. We've
had pipes. We've got now lathes and milling machines. So there you go. So to be honest, it's one of those things. I see the guys who do the dioramas of like workshops and that.
Yeah.
And they have all of this in there. And again, it's one of those ones where you can look at the diorama 100 times and see 100 different things. And that's what I like about them. You know, like I said before, I like it when you look at dioramas and you spot things. It's the little things like the mouse tucked away, or, you know, as you say, or the sandwich, or the little Easter eggs that people put into them and things like that as well. But again, if you're into it, then absolutely, you probably want one. Everyone needs a milling machine.
I'd like one. Would you like one at home?
Oh, I'd love one. Have you seen the price of them?
Yes, yes.
It'll be another piece of equipment that I normally have behind me, but I never use it. So now it's been moved off to somewhere else. But it seemed a good idea to buy one at the time.
Well, that's it, yeah. But again, if you're doing a workshop or a sort of a restoration diorama, you know, all this heavy machinery stuff would be there, lathes and milling machines and all the other bits and bobs. And, you know, like I say, they just decorate a scene, don't they? You know,
yes, absolutely.
Or,
I must admit, it's one of those things. Like as I say, I'm a big tool fan. I think I blame my father for it. But again, it's one of those things. I'd love to learn properly things like how to weld. We were talking about welding the other day, and I can weld, but it's ugly. I mean, ugly. And it's one of those things that I'd love to know or be taught how to weld properly.
Do you know what? Funnily enough about welding, because I've not welded for a long time, so MIG is pretty straightforward. I'm not saying it's easy, but you know, you can get your setups. I want to learn how to TIG, and I've got a TIG welder. I've acquired a TIG welder. And I want to learn how to, because it's less aggressive, so you can MIG bits in and then TIG in between just to make it so it don't warp as much and whatever else. You can get the heating right and stuff. And it TIG weld. Yeah, I've never TIG weld. Never got learnt how to TIG weld or anything. It weren't a thing, I don't think. But TIG welding might be a new fad.
But also like that, and also I'd love to know is lathe, to actually use a lathe.
Oh,
because there's something I just find it. I watch it online, and people are like, you know, and it's like, I don't know, it's something very therapeutic about lathe work.
Watch a YouTube channel called My Mechanic, I think it's called.
Right.
And he restores stuff, but he does it properly.
Yeah,
and he you know, he mills stuff, he lathes new bits for it if it's worn out, like nuts and bolts. He makes new ones, and it's just you just sit there watching it, and you know, I find it brilliant, to be honest. And then you know, this thing actually works as well. It's not just sort of decorative purposes. Actually, what he restores works, which is another good thing. Funnily enough, he's doing a Datsun 240Z at the minute.
Oh, nice!
Really weird. You never see his face. I think he's in Switzerland. The guy's Swiss.
Right.
But you know, they're really good video, really interesting to watch. But like, I'm with you with lathes. I wish sometimes I'd gone into more engineering than what I chose to do, because I think it's somewhat satisfying, isn't there? You know, when they do it with wood as well.
I know, and that's it. They're making just, you know, they get a chunk of something crap and put it in, and it comes out beautiful. And they're oiling and varnishing, and it's like, oh, look at that. That's just like a thing of beauty.
Oh, it's ace, isn't it?
But you know, you get pieces come off of the machinery, off the lathe, and it's just beautifully done, lovely, just metal and shiny, and you're like, oh, that's very satisfying.
Yes,
you know, as I say, when I was doing my engineering, I was a young apprentice, and that I used to do a lot of the tapping work, and you know, for putting the threads into stuff on the lathe. That was my sort of apprentice job, to do that. And it's one of those things I wish I had appreciated and learnt more at the time, because I was just following the numbers. You know, that's it. But I wish I'd actually learnt more and gone more into depth with it and learnt it properly. So Yeah, definitely. Very, very nice. Anyway, speaking of things,
back on track.
Also, last up, we've got a HIMARS. So quite topical at the moment.
Yes.
But obviously we've got the rocket-fired artillery system on the HIMARS system. So this is the Meng's new one, but this is 1/72nd scale.
Yeah.
So it's a little one. I was expecting 35th scale or something to be the normal.
I've only just seen it 72nd scale and not 35th.
Yeah, no, it's a baby one.
Yeah. But I think that's got to be one of their first 72nd kits. In armour.
To be honest, you've gazumped my question, because I was going to say to you, what else have they done in 72nd?
Well, actually, that's 004, so they must have done something else.
There you go. That's my next question. This is the fourth one, apparently. So what were the other three? Because I don't actually recall seeing any of them.
I think there is some, but I honestly can't remember off the top of my head. You know what? I'm going to have to... While you're going to wax lyrical about a HIMARS system, I've got to find out what else they've done, because that's going to annoy me now. Luckily, I have a site set up so we can see.
Quick, grab it.
Yeah, I'm on it like Sonic.
But yeah, you can see on the old thing, obviously it's 72nd scale, but still got loads of detail, but it doesn't look overcomplicated. So very, very nice job with that as well. Obviously, I don't know how many parts this sort of running gear on the chassis is, but...
Oh, okay, right. So, they did one of them Chinese PLA-ZTQ-15 light tank.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, they have. Yeah, they've done a Leopard.
All right.
Leopard 2 A7 in 72nd and an Abrams as well in Tusk.
All right, okay. I didn't know that.
And they're actually out. Yeah, I remember them doing them now. So that's obviously the next in line. So it's all pretty modern stuff they're doing. Funnily enough, talking of Meng, or Ming, or however you pronounce it, the Omnicopters should be out. They might actually be here by early next week. No, the 72nd one, the proper one, not the little Diddy one. Yeah, so...
I saw one of those useless clips on Facebook or whatever it was, which is obviously dragged off of YouTube or something, is how they make the sound effect for the Omnicopters.
What they do, just get some dragonflies and just record them?
No, they didn't actually just do, which, to be honest, I thought would probably be the easiest answer. But no, what they actually have is rubber bands. It's rubber bands.
Is it?
Which are stretched and go to certain pitches and then wiggle it around your head. And as they vibrate through the air, they give the effect. Because they didn't want it to sound like a rotary helicopter.
No.
Because it'll have that sort of sound. Because it's not. It's buzzing up and down. But apparently... Yeah, it's an insect. So technically they use rubber bands vibrating through the air to give that sound, and that's how they did it, which I thought was very clever. And if you go back to like Star Wars with a laser fire, that was them whacking a steel tension cable off the mast, wasn't it?
Yeah.
And stuff, and for all the different sounds they did for it. But yeah, I watched a little clip on it, and it was like, how do you do the sound for that one? And it's rubber bands, thick rubber bands, and doing it. So you go through the air, they make the sound of... So it's like sense. Clever stuff. Clever stuff.
Very clever.
It is. Very clever. So that's roughly about it for this week for new bits and pieces coming out. The only other thing that's coming out or has just dropped is the Airfix, which I've got a picture. Give us a sec.
Yes, the
Shannon lifeboats.
Shannon lifeboat is out, so we've got ours ordered, and they'll be coming in as well.
So they got released, I think it was yesterday, was it?
Yes.
I don't know. Sorry, I'm just trying to find it. Perhaps I'll go to Airfix. That might help. Probably not. Okay.
Probably not, no. It's like the starter set one with the paints, isn't it? Because you've got to build one and you need the little pots of paint to paint it.
Absolutely, because you need that colour.
Hey, even though you've not got orange.
No.
But you've got red and yellow.
Mm-hmm.
So that's their thinking behind it, isn't it?
Where are we? Come on. Have we got a bigger picture? Come on, you must be able to do it. There we go. There it is.
I do actually think, obviously, the colour set that they show on is just the standard box thing. I do actually, because it's got black at the bottom, hasn't it? And there ain't no black in the paint at the top.
Yeah, I don't quite know what... If they've actually got the real colours and that's just a generic photo.
I just think that's like a generic box with like what they do for the, what you could potentially get.
Has it not got a bow thruster? I thought, hold on, we need to check this. I thought it had a bow thruster on them.
Oh, I don't know.
I don't know.
I have no idea.
I'm sure they haven't got it wrong, because I know for a fact they were in collaboration with the RNLI for this.
Yes.
So, but I thought it had a bow thruster on it. Perhaps it's a different class I'm thinking about.
You'd be surprised, wouldn't you?
You would. You'd think it'd need one, to be honest, but apparently it doesn't have one.
What's the bigger one called?
You get this is the Shannon, then you get the 7 class, which is the biggest, isn't it?
The bigger one, isn't it?
Yeah, I don't know if I must admit I'm not massively up onto their entire fleet. I know they've obviously got the ribs and the smaller ones for inshore stuff, but
yeah,
the big one is the 7, and then obviously you got the Shannon, which is this one. So a bit of jack of all trades, this one, isn't it? So, but no, nice to see it. Something a little bit different. Saw some really nice stuff. I know John Tiggerwelts, he did a fantastic one with some acrylic once.
Yes.
That he got kicked out of Telford because it had
is,
non-standard parts, whatever it was.
Which is the most bizarre thing I've ever heard, to be perfectly honest.
It was at the time. I was like, you what? But yeah.
Yeah, exactly. When some of the things that were in there are made of wood and metal and not a bit of plastic in it. Yeah, it was just
apparently you can't put a bit of acrylic with it because that don't count. It's not a kit.
Yeah.
Well,
just
okay.
Bizarre that was, but there you go.
But if you do fancy one of these, obviously, for the moment, it's just as a starter set, isn't it? I don't think it's a standalone yet.
No, but there is
so it's just out of it.
decals apparently available as well.
Oh right, can I turn it into something else then?
Yeah, it's got there is
Iranian markings on it.
No, I just think you can probably change the numbers. I don't know.
Oh right, just the numbers. Fair enough. Don't they do generic numbers? You would have thought Airfix would have done a generic number sheet. So you could do the different ones.
Why do that when you can charge extra for another sheet?
You can cash in for another sheet. I know.
So
that's
here you
just
go. Right, I've got it up here because we've got some guys who want the extra sheet with the kit.
Right.
It says to be used in conjunction with the original kit. Decal sheet instructions contain all of the additional decals required to accurately depict any of the 50 different RNLI Shannon class lifeboats. So there you go. You can do any of the fleet. Yes.
Good. Are they giving any money back to the RNLI for each sailor or anything?
You're asking wrong person. I have no idea. I
thought you had your finger on the pulse.
Not quite with
media.
Yeah, not if they're quite, donating to the RNLI. I do not know, to be honest. But the decals are done by Cartograph.
Oh, so they are good ones. They're
going to be good decals, but yeah, there you go.
Very nice. And to all the volunteers and people and crew that obviously work for the RNLI, I tip my hat, gentlemen.
Yeah, we should go out of the doorstep and clap like we used to in COVID.
We should do. For the RNLI.
Every Thursday.
Every Thursday, that's it.
Always 8 o'clock. Whatever time it was, we used to go out and clap. for all them frontline services.
Yes.
God bless.
I must admit, I was never called to use them ever, thank God, but I was around lots of times when other people were, and they do an absolutely fantastic job. Okay. And I always say, the poor sods are not paid. They're all volunteers to go out in all this crap and everything else like that. And I think,
it's not all the case, but sometimes for stupid people doing stupid things.
Oh, absolutely, especially down here,
Isn't it?
Yeah.
There are obviously the genuine ones, and that happens. But I bet majority of stupid people doing stupid things that they get called out for.
Yeah.
So if anybody is in the RNLI, please let us know, because I could be right off the mark with that comment. But after when we went on our fishing trip.
Yeah, that was a classic example. The classic Flory Models fishing trip, where we thought we'd come across some migrants.
It wasn't us.
No, it wasn't us. We saved people.
We did, kind of.
Well, we did. We gave it to another boat, and then they took them in because they were going that way.
Hello. Yeah.
But
good Samaritans that we was.
We were like, paddle this way as they're in a dinghy about 2 miles off with ping pong bats.
Nearly in France.
Say the way the tide was going, they were going to end up down in Cornwall shortly. It was. But no. So anyway, well done to you guys who take part into it. Well done for Airfix for doing it as well.
Yeah, absolutely.
So,
good stuff.
Good job on that one.
Yeah.
And anything else you can think of?
Just nip to the PM shop.
Yes, I have it queued.
Please, quick queue
Where
up.
do you want to start?
I just at the special offers. That's all at the minute, because obviously there's something happening. I've got a couple of special offers that I've been running, and obviously these are going to end. So the Gladiator Mark II with the Royal Navy pilots who look like they're in a catalogue.
Yes. Yeah, C&A that is. Yeah.
C&A, yeah, men at C&A with the
Yeah,
nice
that's it.
slacks on.
We did that at my wedding, if you remember that pose.
We did. Yeah, we did. Got to do a catalogue pose, haven't you? God knows what they're looking at. But anyway, that's up for for a good price at £39.99 instead of £62. So you get obviously the Gladiator, which Phil's built and can highly recommend, can't you?
Yeah, no, beautiful kit. No problem at all with it. Not overcomplicated.
And the set of figures. I still wonder what happened to the original box art with the swordfish.
I think they got a little bit cold feet when people like us were mentioning it and suddenly thought, do you know what? We're never going to do a swordfish, so we better get rid of it.
Yeah.
Because to be honest, we're so guilty because we've had them many times. And we know for a fact they do watch us. Hello, guys. Great kids, by the way. So we know they watch us. And after we mentioned about the Huey, suddenly that vanished about a week later. And then we mentioned about, oh, look, there's a swordfish. Then that disappeared and we got the Sea Gladiator there. So, yeah, I think...
Well, to be fair, I'll forgive them if they are going to do a 48 Hampton. But also, I'll tell you what, if they did tackle a Huey and they did tackle a swordfish, brill. What a company to do it.
Yeah.
Please, absolutely. Get on board with it.
I'm not being funny. I built the old Trumpeter 32nd scale swordfish, and that's horrible.
Oh, it's not that bad.
Oh, you need to take all the raised detail off it.
Yeah,
they've got them horrible. It looks like somebody's gone to Dunkin' Donuts and stuck them to the outside of the fuselage. Because obviously, if you're going to do it, I highly recommend that you go out, and I know it's a chore, but go out and buy the Edard photo etch set for it.
You need
because then you can sand off all the external details and put the photo etch all onto it because they're correct. So they've got the correct donutty type shapes that don't look like it was once the 1/72nd scale. They just upscaled it. Because that's what it looks like. It's once you do it, and I built that kit, God rest its soul, it died in the famous crash of...
It got crushed.
2018 or whatever it was, with the display case pancaked and
crush.
The crush, it got absolutely mullered. But once it's done, it was very nice. But ICM, just like to point out, we could do with a new one, and you will do it justice. And if it's anything like the Gladiator, the Stearman, the other two, can't remember the German one.
Tiger Moth and the Booker.
Booker, that's the one.
Yeah.
Then it will be a beautiful kit as well. So very, very nice. So yes, we can hope for that.
You never know, do you? You never know with ICM. They'll pull
we keep hinting at them, and sometimes they do it. So that's it. We're okay.
So, no, fair play to them. So yeah, that's up. And then the other thing as well is the Tank Buster JU88, the P1. So again. Retailing at 63 and we're doing it for 40. So I don't think that's a bad price. But these ain't going to be up for much longer because it's going to change out for weekend for some other bits and bobs. So if you want one, grab one quick.
So when will that be changing over?
Probably Saturday morning. Before we do our show.
Yes.
And then obviously the pigment jockeys are there and stuff like we have been. But we'll be changing some new specials out. So yes, there was a couple more, but we sold them. The Phantom went and the both fought actually with the pilots and the ground crew without the ICM kit. So, but they sold. So once they've gone, that's it. Move to the next big thing. So
which is
all good. So
coming soon.
Well, yeah. So I was talking to Phil before we came on because obviously he's really like digging into the Halifax. And what I was saying was because we've both got these, haven't we?
We do. Well, we do now. I only got mine this week. Yes.
So, Amazon special.
Yeah.
Next day deliver it. And we'll set right. And I was asking, okay, so if you're doing a bulkhead, say, or a former, then you pretty much can get your shape, can't you? You can press it in and do your job. What I was asking was, and this is more if you are probably building a vac form or a bit more scratch building, is actually how you get profiles for floors. Because this one here, I've got to build something because it should have an opening that the kit hasn't got. Where the guy who's in this bit of the plane can stick his head out of, and obviously the cutout, you know what I mean? There's a certain shape, and I was like, well, how do you get the width for a start, and how would you go about, making that part?
Yeah.
And again, same with a cockpit floor, because it's going to be the same thing in game widths and stuff. Because obviously a profiling tool is fine if you've got something to profile against, but to me, there's not a lot on the floor. Because you were saying, well, push it into the front, but again,
from my side, what I would say is, if you take a measurement, and this proves, because I didn't mention this on there, but if you have one of these,
I have actually. It's in my tool.
So you've got the foot as well is a depth gauge, you know, so you've actually got it like this, and then you can bring it down to whatever depth you want, and then you can read the depth. So the way that this would work is you have it on here, and you could then come in and you could work out how deep it goes in. Sorry, so you're going to come in and you're going to say, right, okay, well, in a rough world, all right, it's about there, and then I can come along and I can look at it and say, well, that's roughly around about 15 mil. All right, so that's how I would go about it. Then what you could do is obviously you could come in, like this one's not going to work looking at it because it's actually flat, but if we were doing it here to the floor and I was doing it, I would say that's my profile then. So obviously this is it all along here, right? Yeah. And I know that my depth of it needs to be that, which actually has gone it to about where it needs to be anyway. But that is obviously my depth of what I need. So that's how I would go about getting your profile floor. So forgetting those bits, it's literally, that's the profile of the floor we want. So then if you put it onto your plastic card, you put it down, draw around it, and then obviously you know then it's got to be 15, and you could double check it by doing a couple of different height checks along this as you went. So if you were going down right the way into the bottom of it like that, you're going to have to, I know this is a very, very crude way of doing it, but you could roughly come along once you've got your angle coming out of here for your depth and say, right, well, that's going to have to be, what's that, 20 mil from in here. So you need, you know, this has got to be then, this section here, 20 mil. And then you're working then to the midpoint in the middle of the model. So then you need to mirror it on the other side. Yeah,
that makes sense. No, with the depth gauge thing, actually, I've already used my calipers, if I'm honest. I hope it's got one. They should all have them, shouldn't they?
Oh, they've all got the depth one. If it's one of these, yeah, if it's got this bit at the top, it'll always have that bit at the bottom because they work along the slide as part of it.
Yeah, I'll have to check. But that actually, now you said about that, that actually makes perfect sense.
That's how I would do it. So we were talking about the sort of datum line, if you like.
Yeah.
Is going to be your center point. So everything, hopefully, is a mirror. Clearly never on this kit because two sides are completely different, but it's one of those ones where you would have to check the other side, but you could then do it, you know, get the other fuselage half out, do the other half to check it. That's your midpoint. It's never going to be 100% because this isn't in CAD. So always, as I do, go a little bit bigger. So when I did all of these, the formers, because you sand back to make it fit perfectly. So when I did the formers in the back here, or those bulkheads we put in and that, and the one up here, that's what we did. We went deliberately 1 mil bigger everywhere, and then I sanded it in to get that sort of perfect fit for it. So yeah, that's how I would do it. If you've got a better idea down in the old comments, please post up.
I'm not saying there's hundreds of ways of doing it, but that kind of makes sense with the depth gauge. You know what I mean?
Yeah, yeah.
And then obviously you've got a digital reading to go off. So
yes,
right,
yeah,
interesting.
That's what I sort of go against it. My digital bit's given up. Yeah, I've had 2 of these over the years. None of them work. And I replaced the batteries and all the rest of it. And I don't know. It's probably because it's cheap. This is one of those sort of 10 quid ones.
Yeah, I mean,
you probably need a decent one. But as I say, I tend to just use the mils on it and away we go. But yeah.
No, you get what you pay for, I suppose. But again, for what we need it for, it's not exactly, you know, super critical, is it?
It's not rocket science.
No, but yeah, I know what you mean. Yeah, so anybody who don't know as well, me and Phil, I don't know if I know Andy's going to Bovington, so he won't be on Saturday, and I don't know, I think, don't know about John and Nathan, we might message him, but me and him will be on Saturday morning from 10 till midday, won't we?
Yeah.
Which actually might spark my mojo, because we'll do a bit of chatting and modelling, I think, aren't we?
Yeah. So obviously all the chats and live, so Flory Model chat will be up and operational. Obviously YouTube chat will be on as well, so we will get involved with us, talk about what we're up to, answering questions, complain about the weather.
Yeah, complain with too hot, too cold.
Yeah, complain with too hot, too cold, raining, what we've had for breakfast, the usual stuff we talk about.
Yeah, what we're having for lunch, obviously, most importantly. Yeah, usual things.
Yes, the usual stuff. I'll probably be filling and sanding because my next big job is to get rid of these small little problems I've got with some of the the doors because I've got little tiny, very, very small sink marks.
Oh yeah, I seen that on your little vlog yesterday. I was quite impressed with that. That's pretty bad.
Do you know what? Normally, though, if you've got really bad sink marks like that, there's a reason. Because on the other side, there's a bit of detail.
Yeah, there's nothing, is there?
No, there's not. There's nothing. So, yeah. So I've just got a few little sink marks to deal with this one as we make our way through. But it should be all right. I'm sure it'll be okay. So I'll be filling
again.
Filling and sanding. Well, hopefully by the time you come back on Saturday, I will have the engine nacelles fitted to this. And then obviously wings won't go on, so I'll probably put them on near the end. But next week is going to be rescribing and re-riveting the entire thing. That's next thing before it comes together.
Just while I remember, you know your wheels and tyres?
Yes.
Are you sticking with them, or as I've got to put an order in with one of our suppliers, do you want some aftermarket better ones?
What, some Lancaster ones?
Yeah.
Do you know what? I'll probably stick with these. They're not too bad. Now I've cleaned them up. You know, it's just the normal smooth ones. They're not too bad.
They don't look bad, actually. Even the ones don't look too shoddy, do they?
I'm going to say, look, you even got a hole in the bottom. So, yeah. That's before they get cleaned up. They're a bit rough, and I haven't cleaned this one up yet. Still drying, but did this one just before we came on here. But no, actually, I think they're going to be fine. I'm quite happy to stick with these. As much as it sort of sounds probably crap, but I want to keep this as original as possible.
Yeah.
You know, I don't want to go through, because it's that bad, you might as well go the whole hog.
Yeah.
Instead of it being like Trigger's broom.
Yeah, I get you. I get where you're coming from with it.
So, and I know, and I've looked online, and thank you. And obviously, we've got one of our members, and he's one of our new members, done an absolutely stunning job on it and all the rest of it. And if it comes up half as good as that, I'm going to be incredibly happy. And some of you have said about various things you've changed out. I know one of the members, one of the guys I was speaking to, he's replaced all the engines and engine nacelles because it's the same one that's on the Beaufort. On the Beaufighters, so completely, gone down that route with it and all the rest of it. But to be honest, I'm gonna stick with what it actually is. My only thing I've got to do something with, because I've got none of it, is for the turrets. Because I've got one bit which doesn't look too bad, where it's got the quad. I think they're 303s in this. I
think they are 303s. Are you gonna actually 3D print some?
I don't know. I'm probably going to have to do some 303 barrels.
Yeah.
I've got this thing which I'm not quite sure. I think it's the front turret one, but it needs to be a little bit more than that as well. Which I think's the one with the drum on the top. Which gun was that?
That's a Vickers K, isn't it?
Vickers, that's it. Yeah, the Vickers.
You can get them because obviously I printed some off for the Jeep.
But my trouble is the top turret. I've only got that.
What you got? Show it. Is that your top turret?
That's the top turret. I've got nothing else. That's it.
Oh, no.
So, I'm going to have to sort of do something for that. So, if anybody in chat, in the comments, can post up what turret it used, because knowing the age of this aircraft and all the rest of it, it's probably the same turret that maybe is on something else, and I might be able to find something.
A Bolt and Paul in it.
That's what I'm thinking. If it is something like that,
like a Defiant or something.
Yeah, something like that off a Defiant. Oh yeah. But I'm thinking, because that's literally all I've got for the top turret currently, so I'm going to have to scrap build something for that.
That's a bit plain, isn't it? What about your rear turret? What's the...
Well, the rear turret, that's it. That's my sort of rear turret.
Oh, that's not terrible.
So it's not horrendous. No, I think by the time we get new barrels on it and all the rest of it, I think we'll be okay. Yeah, I've got something to go with.
How come they've done that in resin, but not the top turret?
I don't know. Again, it's a little bit of a... all over the place, this one.
Very odd.
Yeah. So
anyway,
it's all right.
Just before we wrap up,
we'll gloss over that.
Yeah, just gloss over. 3D print yourself one. Learn CAD quick. I was going to say to you, just before we finish, because we were just watching a video before we came on YouTube of a fantastic aeroplane landing at Duxford, weren't we?
We were, yes.
Can you show a clip of that? Or we're going
I don't know if I show a clip. I'll be able to show a still, I reckon, though.
Yes. Now, the question is, why is it here?
Yeah.
Where's it going to be?
Step into Wix Studio, the platform for agencies and enterprises, and turn website layouts into an...
Watched it, to be honest. I'd have shot down the A1 from here and gone and watched it come in, because I've never seen one, ever, in real life.
There it is.
There it is. Now, see, that's how my Mojo's lapsed. I do like it. I do like an A26.
Yes.
I really do. It's just, I don't know. It's such a cool looking aeroplane. So yeah, if anybody's got any info on this, let us know.
Definitely. Yeah.
Where it's come from, how long it's here for, what it's doing. I wonder if it's going to do RIAT.
Don't know. Yeah, maybe hang around. Because when's RIAT? RIAT's what, 3 weeks?
When's like Duxford Air show? Is that soon?
Oh, just that one, haven't they?
Oh, they've gone at it.
They've got lots of them though, don't they? They do various ones all over the time, but yeah.
But yeah, it looked cool and sounded good as well.
Oh, it sounded absolutely mega. Yeah, very, very cool.
Are you not tempted to build one?
Well, I say, no, I wasn't until you freaking made it goes to me, go and watch that. Now I'm thinking that's cool, especially in the metal. So, yeah, that's it. So, yes.
Twin engined. What have I said? Twin engined. Prop air.
I love them. Oh, I love them. You know me. I love my twins. Medium bombers. They're the future.
Yeah.
So
you'll have to get you one to go with your Marauder.
That's it. Go along with them all. Go with the Marauder and the V25. We'll have the entire fleet.
All the mid bombers to go with some of the heavies. It'll be nice because obviously we should be getting our B24s. I know we've had a sprinkling, but obviously I presume there's a new shipment coming over with the rest of them. So again, that Hobbyboss one looks all right.
It does look nice, actually. I must admit. Now I've got, because obviously on my wall up here, I've got the B17, I've got the Lancaster, and as far as I was concerned, that was it. But now obviously we've got this one down here as well, and then obviously with the B24, with the Liberator,
B24, ain't you?
I'm thinking that's it now. We're on to all the heavies going to be taking shape on the wall. So yeah, I'm gonna have to retire the A10 and the Vulcan and the B52 to make way for them all up here.
Just a line.
Just a line of them all up there. That'll be it.
Yeah.
Nice. Okay. Well, don't forget, we are going to be back with you Saturday morning. So bright and early, 10 o'clock as well. So we're going to be on to say we'll be chatting and doing a bit of building, various bits and pieces. So I'd love to have you on with that. Obviously, we got some specials will be up, new specials, some deals, usual bits and pieces we'll talk you through as well. And obviously the new Real Colour range will be available then as well. So you can go out and busily scoop them all up. So we've got all of that. I'll be up with you tomorrow. We've got the next part of, obviously, for members of this particular kit, the Halifax build will be up with you, which is part 4, I do believe. Part 5 will be up with you on Monday. So it's going to pretty much get you here. I haven't edited it yet. I'll be editing that over the weekend. And then that will be up with you on Monday as we make our way through. So yes. And don't forget, obviously, the group builds. I'm sorry, the SIG. It is the group build, isn't it? It's going to finish.
I think yes. I think it is. Yes, I think it's
the group build is going to finish. Let me just double check before we go, just to give everybody the heads up, because obviously this will end on Monday. I will lock it down, and this time I'm making a hard deadline of 9 o'clock Monday morning. All right, so Monday morning I will lock it down, because I always get people say I didn't get it in and this, that, and the other, but it is actually going to go on that particular one. So it's the Interbellum one. So that's the one that's finishing, and then don't forget you've only got another month then to get the Spanish one done. Get his first medal after all this time. He's going to get his virtual medal.
It seems a lifetime ago I completed that little MG, but at least I completed something. And anyway, yeah, like you've said, with the hard deadline, if you ain't got it done by Monday, you've had 6 months.
Yeah, that's it.
Tough,
that's what we always say. Yes,
proper tough.
Definitely. So, but if you are doing the Spanish one as well, because there's some great work down in there, we'll have a look at those next week.
Yes.
And some really nice stuff in there as well. But don't forget, it's only a mini SIG on that one. You've got 2 months, so you need to get your finger out and get going on that one as well. So yes, and then obviously we've got the classic build starting, which will be a lot of fun as well. I should have held off, and this could have been part of it. No, it don't count, does it?
Don't count. It's nowhere near that.
Amazingly, this is a 2008 kit.
Yeah.
Who knew? I reckon I could have put that in and say 1970s, and everyone would believe me. It's got the tooling and the quality of it.
Yeah, it has. I don't know. I think that's a bit of an insult to 1970s kits, because we.
Well, yeah, that's it. If you look at Monogram, then it was perfect. Yeah, no, definitely.
Yeah.
So never mind. Anyway, we will leave it right there. Hopefully catch up with you again tomorrow, and then obviously catch up with you on Saturday as well. So if you'll join us for that, we'll have a few giggles along the lines as that one. So that's it. I'm about to sweat myself to death because I forgot my fan. So this lovely evening, we will bid you all farewell. So Matt, say goodbye. We're out of here.
Goodbye.
See you later, guys. Bye.